My name is Angel Elderkin, head women's basketball coach. So I started off like playing and outside, and it really started on the back of like a stop sign because we didn't have a hoop. So we used to just like shoot the ball at the stop sign and you would score, because we always begged like our parents, hey, can you get us a basketball hoop? And they would be like, no, just walk a mile and go shoot. It was interesting when I was in college, I went to be like a therapeutic recreational major, and I changed my major like 3 times. Then I was gonna be a teacher. Then I was, I finally finished up my last year. I got a sociology degree with a minor in coaching and a minor in education. But I think it was like my senior year I got injured, and that's when I realized like I wanted to coach. My college coach brought me in for a meeting, and he said, have you ever thought about coaching? And I was like, well, not really. And he was like, I see you at camp. I hear you on the bench now that you're injured. He's like, I really think that you should look into like some graduate assistants. And I was like, okay. Every experience that I have had was a different experience. So I would say like my first experience at Siena was like when I got my feet wet, but I was also like really eager, really like wanted to be the best and really driven, but sometimes I think I was a little bit like too big for my own britches, And then when I left and went to Tennessee and was able to kind of take a step back and watch like 3 assistant coaches that I thought that complete experts in their field, I was like, wow, this is how I want to be. It's pretty fun to watch a player as like a 9th or 10th grader and then see them develop a relationship with them and then ultimately be able to coach them. It's kind of interesting about the experience here. I signed with an agent, and when I signed with him, he gives you a sheet, and on the sheet just has a bunch of questions, and it said to list your dream job, and App State was on that list. I was flying through to go to another interview at another job, and I had visited Boone and I hadn't been back here, and I walked around. I was like, man, this job ever opened, and that was in May 2014. And I got a call and it said Appalachian State head coaching job's going to open, and I was like, no way. And it was my birthday. I was like, no way. And I didn't really think much of it until I actually got the call that, hey, it's open, do you want to go for it? It was really exciting because the team was very excited to have me, so it was really welcoming. And then it was exciting for me because it was like, okay, now this is my show, but it was also scary because 2 days, I just met these players 2 days ago, and now I'm walking in and trying to coach them. And a lot of people will tell you that it's really not, what you know, it's, how much they know you care. And it was like, how are these players going to know that I care about them when I just got here 2 days ago? So it was more than just basketball when I first got here. I had to get to know the players. It was a tough balance between getting to know them and then getting 30 practices in before your first game. And so obviously we practiced a lot. We tried to do things off the court, try to meet with them individually and just try to get a better feel for them and get a good understanding of what their goals were. It's kind of weird because when I first got here, it was really like, what are we going to do at practice to get ready for this first game? And now I feel like it's so little X's and O's, like more than just solving problems, mentoring coaches, mentoring my staff, and the basketball piece is very minimal of my day. So much of it is now trying to develop our team into young women that can be successful after basketball. With the team, we waited. So basically, I found out during the week of exams, and some of them had gone, some of them were still here. But I talked to the staff and I said, let's wait until we start that summer 1. I knew I had cancer, but I didn't know what kind. And so we met with them right when they came. They thought they were walking into like the first team meeting of the summer, and then here I was telling them about my diagnosis. And originally, we weren't gonna tell anybody. Like we were gonna keep it like in-house. And then when I started to lose my hair, we were like, okay, we gotta do something. And then it was at that moment that I actually took the leap of faith and like became public with it, I think that's when the support started to really come in. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I woke up from my surgery, and the next morning, you know, Sylvia Hatch was like in my hospital room with her book, you know, telling me, you're gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. But it wasn't just like another basketball coach telling me I was gonna be all right. It was somebody that actually had like a cancer that was life-threatening, who made it to the other side. So I think coming from her, it was really nice to hear at that moment, because I knew that she had just been through it.
How is that relationship with Coach Warlick been like an important part of this process, but also your process as coaching as well?
Yeah, she's great. I mean, whether it's this coaching, just to call her to talk about, like, I have labs, she has labs, like, she's unbelievable. And I thought one of the best moments was even when we played at Tennessee, and like right before the game, they're honoring me at the court, and like she walks out, and like you just have to know us and our relationship. And she like kisses my like bald head, you know. And she mentored me like I was like her daughter when I was at Tennessee. You know, like there was lunch money to have. I mean, I was like her child, but I still feel like that. Like I just know if I needed something, I could pick up the phone and she would be here. But I think the most challenging part is there were days where my counts were low, I had no energy, and I would basically just bottle up 2 hours, 2.5 hours to come here. And that's how I lived. Like it was like, okay, I'll sleep, but I know for 2.5 hours I'll go out and I'll practice. But when you're fighting something like that, you need that. Because it makes you feel like, okay, because if you would just lay and you just sit at home, you become sicker, you know? So that 2.5 hours was probably the best thing I could do for myself. That stemmed back from like my mother, because she had inoperable lung cancer. I mean, I'm talking, she should have, when she got her diagnosis, it should have been months, and it was years that she survived. And I believe to this day, she survived as long as she did is because she went to work. And people would be like, why is she working? Why is she working? And it's kind of similar to like my family said, why are you going to practice? But like, it's my journey, you know? And no one can really be in your shoes during that moment. I think early, like in my first 2 years, I took the losses like really, really hard. And not that I take any loss not as hard this season, but I think having the cancer has put a lot in perspective for me in terms of it's a game, you know, there's a lot of things in the course of the game that you have absolutely no control over. So as long as you continue to control what you control, you know, you're okay. And I think it's really put a lot in perspective. I love to read, and you know, I was doing my radiation and I read the Players Tribune article on James Conner, and then I just became like obsessed with him. And even like watching his first touchdown. But I think it was people that, he gave me inspiration because he was through it and he was excelling. And then there was like Holly Rowe, who when I had to cut my hair and I didn't want to, she was doing it. And then she's tweeting about it. And it's like, okay, bald is beautiful, you know? And so she was really inspiring to me. And so it was, you know, different people throughout the fight would reach out with different stuff, and I think every little bit of it helped. And I mean, for 29 straight days, I went to radiation, and I sat in a room, and I would sit down, and there'd be somebody next to me, and I'd always try to talk to them, you know, so it just little moments like that, and you would listen, and you'd hear somebody else's story, and then I would be like, it's not that bad, you know, I don't have it that bad. I mean, I can't speak enough about what my own athletes, the support that they've given me. They've actually been the best, because I think they treated me the whole time like I wasn't sick, you know, and I was who I was. But just, you know, I go out in the community and people see me, and people constantly are coming up to me like, hey, we're thinking about you, we're fighting for you, we're fighting with you. And it makes a difference. It really makes a difference. You know, when you talk about no one fights alone, it really is what the App State community has been. Yeah, I would say for anybody that would be diagnosed with cancer, no matter what it is, that you love, don't stop doing what you love, because it'll take everything from you only if you let it. And I certainly didn't let it take coaching from me or even, stop me.